All right, Charlie. So, can you tell your friends what do we have here?
Hanukkah menorah.
And what do we do with the Hanukkah menorah every
We
night?
light it.
We light the candles. Okay, so tonight is the first night of Hanukkah.
Yeah.
And so here we have set up 2 candles. This middle candle, what's that one called, Charlie? Do you remember?
The helper candle.
The helper candle, or also the shamash.
Yeah.
And what we do is we light this candle and use it to light the other candles. So on
Yeah.
the first night of Hanukkah, we have 1 helper candle and 1 regular candle. And every other night we add 1 more regular candle. So the next night we'll have 2. Okay? All right. And when we light the candles, we say the Hanukkah blessing. I'll sing the Hanukkah blessing. Charlie, do you want to light the candles?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and light the shamash. All right, this middle one, the helper candle. Okay, just give it a second. Oh, Theo, it is not your birthday. Okay. All right, ready? Let's do the blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotov Vitzivanu lehadlik ner shel Hanukkah. All right. All right, here we are on the 3rd night of Hanukkah, and tonight we are going to make a very special recipe. Charlie, what are we going to make tonight?
Latkes.
Latkes. So, Charlie, what sort of things are in latkes? What kind of ingredients do we have here?
And potato.
Potatoes.
And garlic.
Garlic, this is actually onion. Right?
Onion.
Onion. And what, we got an egg. And then what do you call this, Charlie? Matzah meal.
Yeah,
That's gonna make it all stick together. And then we have vegetable oil to fry it up in.
Yeah.
And then Charlie, what are we gonna use to make this potatoes into shreds? Are we gonna use a cool machine?
Yeah.
What's
the
it?
processor.
Yeah, food processor.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so let's get to work. All right, so we're back. So Charlie, what'd you do with that potato?
I cut it up with a knife.
With a knife? Good job. All right, so now we're gonna put it in the food processor, okay? So we're gonna, okay, all right, Charlie, so can you go ahead and put the first part of it in the food processor? Okay, be really careful. Okay, and then I'm gonna push down. Charlie, you press the pulse button down there, okay? All right, see how it turns into shreds? All right, let's get the next one. We'll do a couple and then we'll turn off the camera, do the rest. Okay, ready, Charlie? All right, Yellow Room, we're back. Look, we have these nice potato strips that Charlie made in the food processor, potato and onion strips. And now the next step is to beat up some eggs, right, Charlie? What's that thing you got going there? What's that called?
A whisk.
A whisk, all right. All right, so we'll go ahead and beat that up, and then we're gonna mix it together with the potatoes and a little bit of matzah meal to hold it all together. Okay, all right, so we got our mixed, everything's mixed up. We got the eggs, the salt, the pepper, the matzah meal, potatoes, the onions. Now we're gonna fry it. So this is where the real good stuff happens. So Charlie, I want you to just slide this in and then move back, okay? All right, you hear that sizzle? So we're gonna let that sizzle in there for a couple minutes and flip it. And then we'll get it nice and golden brown. And when it's done, we're gonna put it on this paper towel here to let the oil kind of drain off. All right, now they've been going for a while. We're gonna flip them pretty soon. They're starting to get golden brown on the bottom. All right, here's the finished product. Nice and golden brown. Okay, all right, we got some more cooking here. We got a couple ones that are done. And we got the boys fighting over them, so that must mean that we did a pretty good job. What do you think, Charlie? Oh, and we got a flying potato. How do they taste, Charlie? They good? I think he likes them. Okay, and that is how you make potato pancakes. All right, everybody, now we're gonna read the story of Hanukkah. Okay, you wanna sit here? You wanna read the book too, Theo? Okay. All right, so we're gonna learn all about where the Hanukkah comes from. Okay. The story of Hanukkah begins long ago. Israel was called Judea then, and the Jews were farmers and shepherds. So farmers, look, if they have a plow, but instead of being pulled by a tractor, it's actually pulled by donkeys, which is how they used to do agriculture back then. And then a shepherd is somebody who cares for a flock of sheep.
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
On holidays, they went to the beautiful temple in Jerusalem. In it was a ner tamid, a light that always burned. The Greek king and his mighty army attacked, and they destroyed the temple. And they told the Jews to give up their religion.
Nah. Nah.
Right? And they tried to force Mattathias, an old priest, to pray to a Greek idol. He refused, and his son, Judah, led the fight against the Greeks. All right, so they didn't want to pray to the idols. And so people called idols are those statues that of the Greek gods. People called Judah the Maccabee, which means the hammer, and his soldiers were called the Maccabees. All right, so here's all the soldiers. And then they had a big battle with the Greeks. Okay, and there were even elephants and chariots and all kinds of crazy stuff like that.
This was my Hanukkah present.
That's Charlie's Hanukkah present.
And even the propeller spins.
And the Maccabees beat the mighty enemy.
Babu. How did one of the guys twink? Babu.
It's just an interesting drawing.
Babu.
The temple had been robbed and ruined, and the Maccabees cleaned and rebuilt it. So here they are cleaning up the temple, making sure that everything's okay. All right, now we get to the interesting part. There was only enough pure oil to keep the Ner Tamid lit for one day. And remember, that was the light that was never supposed to go out. But they weren't able to get the oil for 8 days. And the miracle of Hanukkah was that oil burned for 8 whole days. And the Ner Tamid didn't go out. And so on the 25th day of the Hebrew month of Kislev, the temple was reopened. And each year on that date, Hanukkah begins. On Hanukkah, we light candles and remember the Ner Tamid. We eat potato pancakes and jelly donuts, delicious foods cooked in oil to remind us of the oil that kept burning. And we play dreidel, a game with a spinning top. And the
Spinning top.
remember the dreidel, you spin it, and it comes up with different letters.
Yeah.
And
Remember the one chocolate letter?
yes, that's the chocolate letter, the good one, right? The dreidel has 4 Hebrew letters on it, and they stand for a great miracle happened there, and there is in Jerusalem. All right, and that is the story of Hanukkah, and that's why we celebrate it for 8 nights. Okay, thank you, Yellow Room. We hope you had a happy Hanukkah.
This is Judah Maccabee, and let me show you what he does.